All right, everybody, what is going on? Good late evening. I know nobody's up right now. Nobody's going to see this video, but I want to go ahead and wrap up the look at Devin Eastern. And if people want to watch this video the next morning, there's obviously no issue with that. You can watch it whenever. That's the nice thing about YouTube. It goes up and you can watch it whenever you want to. So, yeah, Devin Eastern. Let's do a little bit of tape study. I fell asleep before I could record this earlier and get it up at a normal time. So, let's just go ahead and do it now. I couldn't find a lot of Minnesota tape of their defense, so we're going to go with their game from Penn State in 2024. This was a good game for Eastern overall, 3 tackles, 2 stops, and 1 QB pressure. And Minnesota almost pulled a pretty big upset in this game. This was a Penn State team that was actually decent. This was not the most recent year for Penn State. Not that Penn State was amazing, but at least they were competitive. They were a normal good team. This video is sponsored by Prize Picks. More on them later. So let's talk about what can be talked about here. I don't have a ton, but first play of the game, I think he does a good job holding his ground in B gap. He gets pushed back like a yard, and then he manages to kind of push his way back in, and the run comes right into him for about a 4-yard gain. There's like a big scrum in the middle, but overall, I think he did a pretty good job not getting completely driven out of the play. A couple plays later, with 13:56 left in the first quarter, there's a 3rd and inches, and he tries to bull rush against the running play, but he ends up on the ground, and that is one of the things that seems to happen a lot with him. He ends up on the ground too much, and looking at it, it feels like he's a little overly aggressive, and blockers can use that against him to get him out of position, and then just kind of drive him out of the play completely. So I do kind of get the sense that there is a little bit of stuff going on here where it's just he needs to calm down a little bit so he doesn't end up getting completely wiped out of the play sometimes. Uh, about 9 minutes in the first quarter left, there's a play where he gets released into the backfield and he chases the quarterback and kind of sort of gets pressure, but it's by design. It's not really a real pressure. It's a screen. So the offensive lineman just straight up lets him go. There's a direct snap play on 3rd and 1 where I notice he gets driven back a little bit with 7:52 left. Leverage issue, I think. I think he gets out leveraged. So that is kind of speaking to the thing we talked about where this is a very tall player and that's going to work against him sometimes. 640. He does a nice job swimming through the blockers on an inside run. He ends up on the ground again, but he's still able to participate in making the tackle. So it's not all bad. And I do think that there is at the very least, some disruption here, even if he does, again, need to not end up on the ground so much. So it's a little bit of a concern, but I'm not overly down on this rep. With 3:32 left in the first quarter, he's doubled on a read option, and I think he actually does a pretty decent job holding his ground against the double team. He doesn't get moved out. He doesn't get blown away. He's able to actually kind of hold up in the middle there. And then with 2:20 left in the first quarter, I believe this is the pressure. It's a 4th down too, and it's notable that he's even on the field on a 4th down because you would assume that's a passing down. Now, granted, it was 4th and manageable, but it wasn't 4th and 1. So that's actually kind of notable. And he ends up picking through his blocker. He ends up getting off his blocker and getting a free run on Drew Allar. And the pressure from Eastern forces Allar out of the pocket and into a sack. So it's actually a really good rep by him, and it's a very important play in this game. So that's something that stands out to me because it was earned pressure on 4th down, and that's really good. If you like sports, then the best way to make them even better and more exciting is using the Prize Picks app, where it always feels good to be right. Prize Picks makes daily fantasy simple. Just pick more or less on your favorite players and build lineups with a few taps. Whatever sport you're into, and obviously we are now firmly into the NFL offseason, so we're all about baseball. We got some basketball, we got some hockey, whatever it is you like. Prize Picks gives you a fun way to stay locked in while you're watching. Definitely make sure to use the promo code HMA. Prize Picks is hooking up users with $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. If you use that promo code, that is HMA. I've had a great time on Prize Picks so far, so definitely get on over to it, check it out, and make sure to get your lineups. And don't forget about Team Picks, where you can pick winners, spreads, and totals on any major game. So download the app now, use HMA, and get on over to Prize Picks, where it always feels good to be right. And remember, always gamble responsibly. With 12:28 in the second quarter, there's a play where he's unblocked against a read option, so he ends up getting caught flat-footed because he has to watch the quarterback. So he's watching the mesh point, and because of that, because he stops, he can't get to the running back when the running back gets the ball, because the running back's able to just blow past him because Eastern is not a great mover. So on the one hand, I understand he's obligated to watch the quarterback, but you watch this rep, it doesn't look good because he ends up getting caught flat-footed and the running back gets a pretty big gain past him. Next play, though, 11:15 in the second quarter. This is, I believe, a tackle for loss. I don't think they gave it to him, but you look at the play, Singleton clearly loses a yard. He pushes through a double for a TFL on an inside run. It's an awesome play. It's a great play. It's everything you could possibly want from a player like Devin Eastern. So you look at that and you're like, this is what could be. Fast forward a bunch. Next notable play, 2:26 left in the second quarter. He gets pushed to his right and fights back left into the run gap nicely. It's a play where they're clearly trying to like drive him out of the gap that the running back intends to use, and he manages to kind of fight his way back in to disrupt the play. And then there's a 2-minute drive from Penn State at the very end of the half that does result in a touchdown, and he barely plays on this drive because it's mostly passing situations, I think. He finally gets on the field near the goal line, and I will say I think that he runs a stunt move that ends up giving up a run gap for Drew Allard to scramble for the touchdown. I don't know if it was an intentional stunt or not. I'm not quite sure if that was the intent of the play, but it ends up kind of looking like Allard uses the gap left open by the stunt to go get the touchdown. Whether or not that stunt was intentional, I don't know. 9:59 in the third quarter, he swims through the line fast on an inside run, but ends up on the ground again. So just kind of overly aggressive and gets off balance and ends up in a position where he can be taken out of the play completely. 9 minutes left in the third quarter, he shoots a gap, but can't get back to the back fast enough. So it's a good play, but the back is just able to get to his gap in time because it was a off tackle run. 5:41 left in the third quarter. He gets a free release into the backfield, but again, it's by design. It's a screen pass, and it ends up being a good screen pass. So not necessarily anything to praise him for. As the game goes on, you definitely notice a lot of reps where he just kind of bounces around with the blocker on a passing down. So he's not really impacting the play. He's just kind of like almost playing bumper cars with the blocker. So there isn't a lot of impact there from him. Get to the fourth quarter, 14-17. Great rep here to shed the blocker and make a tackle for no gain in the hole. It's exactly the kind of stuff that is exciting about him because he's got the length to shed. 5:48 left in the fourth quarter. He does a good job shooting the A gap into the backfield, but not quite in time to get to the back. So there's still a somewhat modest gain here. 2:17 left in the fourth quarter. The two most important plays of the end game here. There's a crucial 3rd and 1. Ty Warren gets basically a draw play, and Eastern tries to shoot the gap, but he gets shoved out on his side. Now, the good news is he drew attention from the blockers, so that clears the way for other defenders to get in there to actually make the stop at the line of scrimmage. But the next play, it's a tush push on 4th and inches. This should be inches, not goal. And he gets out leveraged pretty badly. Same with the entire Minnesota defensive line. First down basically ends the game, and that's what I took away from this one. So it's a good game overall, but you do see some of the issues for sure. All right. See you guys later. Sorry I'm uploading so late. Michael Dansby tomorrow. Go Hawks.